Welcome to the node.js Node API team meeting for November 18th, 2022. We'll follow our standard approach of looking at the things which are on milestone 11. But before we do that, does anybody have anything they'd like to share in terms of announcements?
Nothing here.
Okay, so let me share the right. There we go. Okay. So the first one at the top of the list is drive towards full coverage. I know, Jack, you've been pushing that one forward. Anything we should discuss this week?
No, I'm just I think we have like 17 tickets left open, so I'm just slowly working towards those.
Okay, sounds good. Definitely making some good progress there. Better coverage for Node API and YouTube. I see there was some discussion last week. I don't know if there's anything else to discuss this week.
I do not believe so.
No, okay. Let me go to add a list of C language bindings to Node.js doc. I think there's actually a PR open for, right? Did I see that somewhere? Let me.
Yeah, it's listed in this conversation.
Right
there.
This one, right? So I think there's some discussion going on in the issue. Anything we should discuss in the meeting?
I have nothing.
No, I think it's progressing in the issue itself, so that's probably good. Tracking modules that are reported. Nothing new to announce there. I'm just going to go over to NPM. And no. Just see if there's anything substantially different. Doesn't look like, although it's broken 10 million. That's interesting data point. And quite a lot.
Yeah, that happened. We saw that last week.
Okay. Okay, great. I don't know if it's been noticed before, but like I was looking at the AWS toolkit for JavaScript, and I noticed it's actually in there. So that was kind of interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
At least it was in one part. I think it might have been like the piece that builds the engine for deployment or whatever. Anyway, it was just an aside, interesting note. That's cool. Enable debug testing. I haven't done anything on it. So I guess stale issues. Let's take a look here where we're at. This one. I think this one we could take off the list, right?
Yes, so we couldn't do it last time. We need you to do it.
Ah, really? Is it because should make sure that more of you have access? Like, what team can actually edit things in here?
I
settings.
don't know.
Yeah, I'll go and look at that because it should be set up for the team, I think, who should be able to. Maybe it's, yeah, anyway. I'll look at that afterwards because it should have been. So with this one, we can remove, right? Might as well just delete it completely. Delete. Okay, this one. I don't know if there's anything more to discuss on this one. Let's see.
No, this one is dependent on the changing of the set immediate finalizer,
right,
which is sort of dependent on how we want to approach the runtime changes.
Right. Okay. Right. This one, which is the signal, I think you have a PR which is in discussion still. Is that this one?
We talked about it last week, and I think Chengzong Yes, he commented that it could be a documentation update as well,
Okay,
saying that if you use Signal, then the on progress handler could have a null data.
okay,
So I think that's the last thing that I can
Yeah, right.
do, which makes sense.
I
Okay.
think, yeah,
go ahead.
I think a caveat for people to know that they may receive null pointer is important for them to know. Yeah, this method might can get null pointer. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So
Okay.
I'll do that this weekend, and then it should be good to go.
Okay, excellent. We'll look out for that. All right. So that's that one. This one.
I think this one also has to deal with how we want to do the engine change.
Okay. Just waiting on that as well. And then this one.
This one, if you go to that linked issue at the bottom, that last
Yep.
one, I believe Chengzong was going to take a look at this.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to wrap up the documentation for this part, but I suppose, yeah, I still didn't get a chance, but I suppose I'll get a time slot this weekend.
Okay, so it's all
Not
in the
guaranteed.
area we're
Yeah.
working. Yeah, thanks. Okay, that was this one, I think, was it just right? And then
Yep.
the last one. Right, I think Vladimir, you were working on the unit tests. I think there was just one last piece that you had on this, right?
Yeah, I need to do the same in C++. Didn't do
Okay.
it. Sorry.
Right, just leaving open for that. Yeah, okay. Okay, so that's in terms of stale issues, how to document, how to check for memory leaks. I think that one is a good idea, but just waiting for somebody to take a look. That takes us then to the list of issues. So I think we just will flip over to node API, and we can go here and
Nicola has joined
Oh.
the attendees.
okay, thank you. Let me
I don't know how long he's been sitting there, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Okay,
Hi,
Nicola, sorry
everybody.
for keeping you waiting.
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay, we're just sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I have this paragraph. I have a comment by Legendcast.
Which one?
Yeah, I want I agree with his concern, but what the problem here is that when we do for npm test, node.js will be called with some parameters, and then it builds the add-on, and after our test suite will be executed. So we don't have controls of the parameters that we pass to node.js, because it executed before the test executed. So my proposal with this paragraph is that okay, it's controlled by node.js. Node.js produce the binary, and we only need to check if the binary is in the release folder or debug folder. But the problem is that if you are well understood, is that you did you use an incremental build in that case. In the way I proposed, maybe we cannot able to find the right folder, because we maybe we will have two folders. One is release and one is debug, but in this case, I think that could be some cases when you could have two folders, and by default I chosen to use release folder. So I could use an environment variable. I think I need to try, but I want to know what is your what do you think about this?
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it is a possibility that both the debug and release folders would be there. And I think it's acceptable to use an environmental variable if it's present. Otherwise, fall back to your checking the file system. And
What
then
about looking at the timestamp?
I was also thinking that, but I think that may add additional
Right.
complexity.
I guess that doesn't like.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was wondering that adding another checks on the file system will cause check problems. Like we don't know when we run the test, if it is using the release build or if it is using the debug build. We have to guess which one it is using. So I would find a simple solution to this choice would be nice, since we can say definitely it is using the debug build or definitely it is using the release build.
Yeah, that probably makes the most sense. Is like if you wanted to use the debug one, you need to set the environment variable. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, right.
And I could almost see like it would make sense to say, like, if you've set the debug environment variable and you don't get it, it should just return an error. Like,
Yeah,
you've told me to use
exactly.
debug doesn't exist, or if it tries to use the release one by default and it doesn't exist, let's just. Because I think the biggest problem would be like you said, the confusion where it's like, well, I just rebuilt the binary. Why aren't I getting the one that I wanted, right?
Yeah, I could see some confusion happening if we do some sort of fallback. If like the user specifies debug testing and it's not there, so we fall back to release and then we test release instead of debug. I think that would be a little weird behavior. So I think it makes sense to error if the build type is not there. So I agree.
Okay. We want to use the environment variable to set the build type. If the environment variable is set, and for example, set release, but we don't have the release folder, we need to throw an error.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we remove the default that is now is release, for example. So if there is no build that you set, you will get an error. This is the behavior.
I think we could like say if build type isn't set, then it uses release, but if the release binary doesn't exist, get an error.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. We have two different paths. If the build type is set, we need to check if it's set and if the folder exists. Otherwise, we go for the release.
Right,
So
but still, like if the release doesn't exist, so like we could set like our own default. So like if the build type isn't set, it's effectively set to release.
Okay.
And then regardless of whether it's release or debug, if the binary doesn't exist, we have an error.
Okay.
Right.
I understood. Okay, I will work in this way to finish the work. Yeah.
Okay, it sounds great. So I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna remove the SPR. It's gotta be, that doesn't make sense, though. Or maybe issues. Are there any of these ones that we think we should chat about?
This that second one came in recently, which seems reasonable.
Right.
Chengzong did make a comment already. We do have some node add-on API objects that have operators to get the underlying node API object.
Right.
So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
total sense. So I guess it's just a matter of, should we ask if they're interested in submitting a PR?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
If or if the if this person is not cannot make the PR, I can possibly make it, since it's quite a small change. Or if there anyone in this room are interested, I'd be happy to help out.
I actually kind of started working on this.
Oh, okay.
But it is a very small PR. So I'd reach out to the poster and see
Okay.
if they're interested in doing it, just to get additional contributors. And if not, maybe give it like 2 weeks, and then if not, I can submit mine.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
Sounds perfect. Thanks. So ask that. Any of these other ones that are particularly, if people have already, so Nick, you already replied to this one, right?
Yeah, I need. It's. I think that he is starting to implement native add-on now, so he needs some. he wants some suggestion how to organize the code, and then how if it's possible to have something that generate all the code by itself. So yeah, I know this tool called Genepi that yeah, is able to generate the binding automatically.
Okay, that sounds good.
And yeah, and it's used by Geode, that is it's a native add-on. So I have another issue that
Okay,
1232.
this one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We have this guy that and I think that 1224.
Yeah.
Is another issue where I answered. I think.
Yeah.
And maybe this is the code that crashed. So, but I don't know why. Maybe someone could help. I try to yeah, I understand that he used this code, and now this code crash.
Right.
But yeah.
I wonder if asking again, like if they could run under Valgrind is, because that sometimes helps identify where things are.
Okay, because it works for me with Node. The problem is in Electron.
So right, the code that you provided runs fine for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Electron.
Yeah, it
Always
seems like
giving problems.
So it works inside of node.js, but then we do it in Electron, it crashes, right? Is correct?
That's what it sounds like. But I'm not just looking at.
But I don't know if he used the code that I proposed, or maybe is our one code. Maybe I need to ask this.
I think like what we're doing right now, we're trying to guess what the problem really is.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's like, what can we ask in terms of more info is the question, probably the best.
We really need to have real repro steps, like any issues should be accompanied, like, yeah, do this, do this, do this. I know. Otherwise, it's not actionable.
I think that is in the other issue. Oh my God! In
right, this one.
Yeah.
Well, so just looking at the code they posted in 1224, they're using static members, and there's issues with using static members with reloading contexts. So I think that's why we were suggesting to use, like the context-aware add-on, which it's odd because the topic is talking about using the add-on class, but the code isn't.
Okay, it's my mistake. Okay, what I proposed is the code in the example. It's I extend the add-on class, and I have one static entry.
Right. Like I was just talking about his the poster's original code in the comment above. And so that one looks problematic, and I can see why that might crash. But then looking at yours, I don't see why that would crash because that one doesn't use anything
Yeah,
stable.
their code, is okay to crash. I'm expect that that could crash because they use all static reference. So static.
Yeah.
But maybe this is the, like, it's like 1124 seems to provide the old code, right?
Yeah, I attached even if the project without node modules.
So maybe like we can say we discussed in the Node API meeting, can you provide the updated version of the source? Because the old one, you're like, yeah, I could see that crashing. We don't know what the new code they're looking at. Like,
Right.
they took
Yeah.
they took what you had, which we think is fine, but it'd be nice to see that they actually translated that into the right thing.
Yep. Makes sense.
Okay, I will add that. Any other ones here that we should?
One,
No, go ahead.
1 to 5.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reporter is right. So only if you have a NAPI error exception, we translate the exception to JavaScript exception. So we need to maybe be more clear on the documentation, and but I reserve it to ask because we had other discussion that I referenced in this where someone asked us to translate every exception to NAPI error and then to NAPI to JavaScript exception. But the discussion essentially was that it's something that is not general. It's something that depends on what is your application logic and what you do on that particular native exception. So yeah, essentially, yeah, I agree with the Gabriel point if you read all the discussion here.
Yeah.
And I think that all what we can do now is to change the docs and explain that only NAPI error will be dispatched as a JavaScript exception.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like that it was great you dug up that old discussion, and I kind of remember, yeah, there was no way that it made sense to us. So if it's not clear from the doc, updating the docs makes sense.
Okay, so I will do this.
Okay. I was going to say discussed in the Node team meeting today, and it's going to update the docs to make it clear. Sounds good. Any other ones people want to call out?
Maybe you discussed it before. I have a paragraph on the disable node about the non-C bindings.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So.
This one or a different one?
No, in stable node.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Okay. So let me go back.
The bindings PR.
Oops. if I could type. This one, right, yeah. I think we just looked at it quickly and said there was some discussion going on there, but was there
Right.
anything in particular you wanted us to talk about or questions to answer?
Yeah, I'm okay with electron. I missed it. Sorry. And if someone could give me an example of what Legend Gas asked. So yeah,
Right,
yeah,
okay. Let me,
I never did something, so I don't know how to so
Right.
if someone wants help on writing these kind of things.
so we could say like notes. It's not tried out or validated the projects listed below and does not endorse the way the list. Something like that.
Okay.
I don't know what people think.
Typo on evaluation.
Yeah, I would like to mention that we might need also say this statement in the other way, like say those projects as in we list this brand runtime names here, and probably the company brand here. That doesn't suggest they are endorsing with our work on Node API, since those might be in their trademarks.
Okay, so
Yeah,
not
sounds
tried out
good.
or validated the project listed below. Similarly, being listed below does not indicate that those projects endorse Node.js or Node API.
Indicated should be indicate.
Right, it does not indicate.
It should still be indicate, not indicates.
Right, indicate.
And then there's a typo on evaluation, the last word.
Thanks. So let's just read. The Node API team has not tried out or validated the projects listed below and does not endorse them in any way. Similarly, being listed below does not indicate that those projects endorse Node.js or Node API. The lists are simply provided in order for you to do your provided as.
It's okay for me. Now
Sorry.
it's more clear.
Sorry, go ahead. What was that, Nicola?
Yeah, now I understood what Legend Gas asked. Great, thank you. But you need to remove one new.
Yep.
Yeah, well, okay. And then I need to change the name of the file. Is it right?
Mhm.
Because okay.
Oops. I didn't mean to remove that out. I'm not sure if that's exactly in the right place, but you can take a look, I guess.
Yeah.
And fix it up from there. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. I update the paragraphs
Okay.
in this week.
Yeah, it might not even be like that you might need to pull that up higher above these lists or something like that, but
Yeah, and this week there is new binding, a .NET binding
Ah.
by Jason Ig that worked in Node.js API. Is it right?
Hmm.
I remember him in the first
who is it by?
the
Jason?
yeah, Jason Ig.
Ah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I will try it.
Right, like if I look at where was Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's neat. Okay. Anything more on that one that you want to cover?
No, for me it's okay.
Also
maybe
did
I'll
a stub on .NET version. I took on an API CS and I found that API coverage was not complete. So I had some kind of version of it as well.
Okay. I'm going to go here and look at. Never seem to be able to see here. No, let's just search. I'm sure there's a better way for me to do.
I think you have to put label : in front of it.
Okay. Okay, so. Guess, is there anything here that people want to bring up or discuss? Don't see anything too new. I do know, Legendikas, I saw you shared a Google Doc. I haven't had a chance to read through it, but go ahead.
I posted the link in the chat. So if people who have not received the email or didn't get the link can get the link in the chat and take a look on it. And I have updated with the new section about the compatibility and alternatives in this document. Also, I have replied to Vladimir's concern in the thread. So if you could get any chance, and please feel free to comment on the document or suggest a change. Thank you.
Sounds good. I guess anything else then that people have for us to talk about? Okay, if not, well, thanks for everybody's time, and we will see everybody in GitHub and next week. Everybody later. Yep.